Shadow, my son.
Shadow.
Shadow?
Shadow.
Shadow!
Shadow.
Professor was in development of the ultimate life force, but he needed my help. The reckoning will soon be here.
Hey, what's happening everyone? My name is Speedstreak and welcome to the Theoryverse, where we take a look into video games, movies, TV shows, comic books, and anything across pop culture and geek culture and see what we can theorize. Now, in this video, we'll be talking about the lore in Gerald Robotnik's Journal. Now, ever since Sonic and Shadow Generations was announced, I was really excited for Shadow's story in Sonic Generations, and as we got closer to the release date, Sega themselves announced that all pre-orders come with a copy of Gerald Robotnik's Journal. This is so exciting, for we not only get to read more of Gerald Robotnik's backstory as well as Shadow's story, we also get to see more lore in Sonic's world. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different from my previous videos, for not only am I going to analyze every page of Gerald Robotnik's Journal and compare it with the Gerald Robotnik journal logs that we have gotten from previous Sonic games, including Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Battle, but the video is also going to be a bit similar to MatPat's GT Not Live videos, where he and his friend Ash watch analog horror videos, trailers, and play video games and analyze them while also theorizing along the way. If you haven't heard, MatPat recently has officially retired from YouTube, and a while back he did retire from the Game Theory channel, Film Theory channel, Food Theory channel, and Style Theory channel, and gave those channels to his friends, but he still stayed on GT Live with Ash. But on October 27, 2024, he made a final farewell video on GT Live. Unfortunately, I haven't watched it yet, but I will soon. Now, as I was working on this video, I noticed that another YouTuber named Sonic Theory has made their own analysis video of Gerald Robotnik's Journal, and I haven't watched that either, but I'll check it out later and see what he found out for Gerald Robotnik's Journal. And I've also seen Reddit posts online with many fans theorizing about the journal, and so I'll add those in this video as well. I do have to say that this is, in fact, Sega and Sonic's team's version of Gravity Falls' Journal 3 and the Book of Bill, where we get to read old and new lore of the Gravity Falls series, and I am a big fan of. I love the Gravity Falls series, and I love both of the books that Alex Hirsch has made, and the journal itself does share some similarities. But I'll try my best not to compare Gerald's Journal with the two Gravity Falls books, but I might be doing some comparisons as we analyze it. Now, before we begin, I do have a confession. Ever since Sonic and Shadow Generations was released, I tried my very best to avoid spoilers from Shadow's story, especially on social media, and every time a spoiler pops up, I try to quickly scroll away from it. But unfortunately, I may have accidentally caught glimpses of pictures of Shadow's story campaign, but once again, I did my best to quickly scroll away from it to not spoil myself. So, short story, I'm trying my best not to be spoiled of Shadow Generations. And if you've been following my channel, I have beaten the original remastered version of Sonic Generations, and I will be playing Shadow's story as well. And now, when I was working on this theory, I wrote down notes and mini theories along the way that I had in my mind when I was analyzing each page of the journal, and the journal is in fact not really long. It's only 25 pages, but there is a lot to dig into. And not only that, but the Sonic Wiki also has the entire journal on it, so I'll look into it if there is a word that is a bit hard to read in cursive. Now, before we begin, let's change into something more suitable. Alright, Now this is more like it. Alright, so without further ado, let's take a look at Gerald Robotnik's journal. Alright, so here we are starting off with the very first page of Gerald Robotnik's journal. And off the bat right here, we see a letter from the Archival and Requisitions Department to Commander Abraham Towers. And if you guys have watched the Sonic and Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings, we had a confirmation that the GUN commander in the Sonic games is confirmed to be Commander Abraham Towers, and if you haven't known, that's actually his name in the Sonic Archie series, which is really cool. And it is really cool that we have official confirmation that the GUN commander in the games shares the same name as his Archie counterpart, and that is really cool that they brought in his Archie name into the main series. Alright, so here's the letter. Commander, your request for tangible evidence of the Ark incident 50 years ago produced very little results. Your predecessor was quite thorough in erasing the cover-up operation. However, Professor Gerald Robotnik's personal diary managed to survive. And ironically, we have Dr. Eggman to thank for finding it at all. Which makes sense since he originally found it in Sonic Adventure 2. This journal was recovered during the investigation of Dr. Eggman's stronghold following the latest incident with the Ark. Unfortunately, time and tragedy have not been kind to the journal. What you're holding out is all that remains of the original book. I'm afraid that there is no way of recovering the missing pages, nor can I restore the damaged or redacted elements. It's a pity, as I would have very much liked to have greater insight into Gerald and Maria's lives too. Regards, T. Okay, so this is what remains of Gerald Robotnik's diary, and yeah, and from what I originally read, many pages have been destroyed throughout the book, and yeah, as the person who wrote the letter to Commander Towers says, it's a pity. Well, all that remains of the no way recovering. Okay, so there's no way of recovering the missing pages, nor can the person restore the damaged or redacted elements. Okay, so, and from what we see here, there are redacted sections here, as we see in many of the black sections of the paragraphs here in the book. And I did read that a little further on that we're going to be seeing a lot more, but thanks to our previous knowledge of the Sonic franchise and series, we will be adding in many of these areas here. Now, what's interesting? Now, I wonder who is T. And yeah, this is all that we know who sent the letter to Abraham Towers. It's possible, I believe it's possible that, well, that T may stand for as, may be named as Topaz. And for those of you who don't know, Topaz is the name of a GUN soldier who actually teamed up with Rouge the Bat in the Sonic X anime series. And it is that's the biggest possibility that T could be Topaz. But as of now, we're not really sure, but that could be it's a possibility that the person who found the journal and gave it to the commander could be Topaz. And okay, so I know I said I wouldn't draw any comparisons that much to Journal 3, but this is I compared it, and it's sort of similar to Journal's 3 entry with the letter of the Oregon Parks Department finding Journal 3, just as Commander Towers was given the letter when he got Gerald's journal. And I believe that Abe was given the journal after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog For if it was given to him after the events of Sonic Adventure 2, it wouldn't make sense for... At that time, he still had an vendetta towards Shadow, as was shown in the beginning of Shadow the Hedgehog. So it would make the most sense that he got the journal after the events of Shadow the Hedgehog. And I believe Eggman himself also has a copy of Gerald's journal, that he copied the entire journal, and he probably read it through and realizes that, yeah, there are also some redacted sections in the book. Alright, so let's take a look at page 2. Entry 42. I take great pride in my research and discoveries. Few men are labeled as genius in their own time, but nothing compares to my pride in my boys. Blank and blank. They both graduated summa cum laude. I think that's Latin. And in the record, in record time, no less. They'll have their doctorates in no time. It seems my passions for archaeology and robotics are split between them, but I guess that's what makes them chips off the old block. I can't wait to see what boons they bring to the world. Now, I just want to... So, this is the first entry that we've... Well, besides the letter, this is the first entry that we've ever gotten of Gerald Robotnik, and that is interesting. So it looks like... So, we now see... So, that is really cool that Gerald Robotnik has... Well, let me see here. So, yeah, we now know that Gerald Robotnik has 2 sons. One, an archaeologist, and the other, a robotics specialist. And... yeah, that now we know who Maria and Eggman's fathers are, and we can actually tell them by their glasses. By one, sort of showing his eye with having being really happy, and the other having glasses similar to Eggman. And from the looks of it, I believe that Gerald's sons could be in fact twins, or actually one, or well, it could be a bit of a perspective with one looking a bit taller than the other, but still, it could be twins. And from what we see here, both of Gerald's sons' names are redacted with a black mark on them. But yeah, once again, as I stated earlier, more words would be erased, but we're going to be filling in the blanks. But so I wonder what the names of Gerald's sons could be. It's possible that Gerald could have named his sons after famous scientists, with one probably called Benjamin, or and the other one Nicholas or Albert. But I believe a possible other name for either twin or maybe Eggman's father's name could be Julian. Just as Sega themselves confirmed that the G1 commander's name is Abraham Towers from the Archie comics, it would be cool if they incorporate more Archie lore and Archie names into the Sonic games, so it is possible that one of Gerald's sons, once again possibly Eggman's father, could be Julian. And if that is so, Eggman's full name could be Ivo Julian Robotnik. And to be honest, that would be really cool. But it's just a theory. Now, before we move on to the next entry, I just want to say something. Is it possible that the Robotnik family was responsible for many of the future cities and tech throughout the world? And from what we've seen since the first Sonic game, we have seen Sonic and his friends explore many futuristic cities and factories, whether they were built by Eggman, or the cities have already been built before they visited them, and even used future inventions as well. And it is possible that the Robotniks during this time have made the Extreme Gear series, from the hoverboards to the hover bikes to even hover skates, aka possibly the air shoes. But we'll talk more about that later in the video. Actually, I do want to bring up the... Well, I actually have the wiki here for the Extreme Gears. So let me go. Well, let's go over there very quickly. Yeah, it is possible that the extreme gears have been made during either Gerald Robotnik's time or his son's times. And yeah, it's possible that the extreme gears could have been around even before the events of Sonic the Hedgehog, and we know that Sonic and his friends have used many of the extreme gears, especially the hoverboards, throughout the Sonic Riders series, and of course we know about the Babylon Rogues as well. And it's also possible. I wonder if it's also possible that they also made, well, futuristic cities as well, including Metal City, which we have seen at the beginning of Sonic Riders, and or even, well, Meteor Tech. Well, I actually read that Meteor Tech was made by Eggman, and it resided in Monopol, which is in fact a futuristic city as well. And it also could be possibly being made by Gerald Robotnik. And another one is Metropolis from Sonic Forces, where once again that could have also been made, or been made thanks to made by the technology thing from Gerald Robotnik and his sons. But well, once again, this is all just theorizing. Alright, so let's move on to the next entry. I can't believe how much time has passed. It feels like yesterday I was celebrating my boys becoming men, and now I am a grandfather. Her name is Maria, and she is perfect in every way. She brings a smile to everyone's face, and everyone falls in love with her the moment they lay eyes on her. If nothing else, she is my legacy. Everything I do this day forward, I do for her. Oh no. Oh man. Yeah, in the next, we even get to see, besides Gerald Robotnik with his two sons graduating, we get to see Gerald seeing his granddaughter Maria for the first time. And this is way before Maria got sick with the neuroimmune deficiency syndrome. And from the entry, we get to see Gerald learn about Maria's, the early stages of Maria's hopefulness and her smile bringing joy to everyone. And back then, the Robotniks were a happy family, and that just makes it more tragic since we know what happened later on. Alright, so let's move on to the next page. Oh, I remember this. I remember this when they first showed the Gerald Robotnik's journal. I deciphered the engravings on an ancient ring I found on a previous dig in, and this could be, and this what they say, what the redacted words say, the Mystic Ruins jungle, and calculated the location of a fabled flying paradise. I went alone to verify my findings and was rewarded with the spectacle of an angelic island. The land was vast, lush, and hosted a number of biomes in close proximity to each other. I believe that I could see an entire floating city at one point. Most majestic of all was a shrine devoted to what appeared to be a massive Chaos Emerald. Could this be the legendary Master Emerald? I dared not approach or overstay my welcome. As much as I wanted to explore every inch of the island, I felt it was a sacred land. Just setting foot on its soil felt taboo. I don't know if any civilization remains. The land is vast and my stay was brief, but the majesty of that emerald and shrine will stay with me for the rest of my life. Now this is where we learned that Gerald himself visited Angel Island thanks to an ancient ring he found in the Mystic Ruins. And actually this in fact parallels when Sonic and Tails themselves visited Angel Island in Sonic 3 Knuckles after Sonic found an ancient ring on West Side Island's shores, and when he finds it, recalls the tale of a floating island to Tails. It's also really cool that Gerald was also visited the different zones throughout Angel Island and saw the mystical Master Emerald. I have read a theory online which has been around for some time that stated that Gerald himself saw the ancient mural in Hidden Palace Zone, which shows Hypersonic fighting Eggman, who stole the Master Emerald in, well, as we see in the final level of Sonic 3 Knuckles in Doomsday Zone. The theory also states that this is possibly where Gerald got like very early inspiration for Shadow the Hedgehog when he was working on Project Shadow. And he was also right with the majesty of the Emerald Shrine staying with him, because we did see that he made a copy of it in the Space Colony arc in Sonic Adventure 2, which actually is really cool. And I wonder, the part that he stated that if there was any civilization remaining, and well, he is right about that. I mean, I believe this is 50 years ago. I believe this would be either when, well, this will be before Knuckles became the last of the Echidnas. It's possible that he was spied on by Knuckles' like grandfather or father at that when he was younger at the time. It is possible that there were a couple of Echidnas remaining that saw Gerald like exploring Angel Island and seeing the Master Emerald and realizing, yeah, this place is sacred. I'll leave it in peace. Now, before we continue, I actually do want to take a pause here, because I wonder if Gerald not only visited Angel Island, he may have also visited the Starfall Islands. I actually have seen a couple theories online from other fans wondering if Gerald visited the Starfall Islands, probably mostly Chaos Island, and that's where he got the inspiration and probably the technology to not only create the Space Colony arc, but as well as the Eclipse canon. And a couple of reasons are: one, Tails mentioned in Sonic Frontiers that the Ancients cannons found across Chaos Island have similar firepower on par with the Eclipse cannon, and two, we do see Shadow exploring Chaos Island in the Sonic and Shadow Generations trailers, but since the game is out and I haven't played Shadow's story yet, and I don't know what the true connection is to Chaos Island, and I think I read somewhere that that Sonic Team just brought Chaos Island due to the Time Eaters, well, meddling with time, but maybe it's just that, but if any of you have played the game and knew about the truth about Chaos Island, please don't put spoilers in the comment section below. Anyways, let's now talk about the Space Colony arc, entry 185. I'm about to embark on the most ambitious project of my life. The Earth's first orbital space colony will be the ninth wonder of the world. It will be a place of science, researching all manner of ways to improve our home below. Seeing as it is a vessel meant to preserve life amid the harshness of space, I have christened it the Ark. It shall be a vessel to pass on the value of life and peace to the next generation. And while most of the megastructure will be hidden within the base planetoid, I may have gotten a little self-indulgent in the design. The only real concern is the source of the funding. While the United Federation supports us, most of the financing is coming from GUN. I have no illusions about what they'll want, but I'm building the Ark to preserve life, not end it. And while I have my concerns, I am a genius, so I'm sure I'll figure something out when the time comes. Alright, so yeah, it is still really cool that we get to see the origins of the Space Colony arc as well. And once again, it was originally used to do just regular research and to help preserve life. And I think that since Eggman looked up to his grandfather ever since he was a kid, I think he got the inspiration to place his face and logo on his machines, mechs, as well as on the Death Egg to not only honor his grandfather, but of course as flaunting his ego. But I know, but of course this was before Eggman discovered his father's journal, but it is possible that he did look up to his grandfather, and was inspired by it. But it is interesting that Gerald himself was getting the finances of the Ark through GUN, and I believe this was a confirmed theory that Gerald was working with GUN to build the Ark, and yeah, he didn't agree with him that he wanted to help humanity and not destroy it. Let's take a look at the next page. Oh, I see. Okay. This is interesting. Life and work aboard the Ark has been exciting, for good and for ill. As a positive, we've acquired one of the legendary Chaos Emeralds for our research. They're said to hold unlimited power, and preliminary tests suggest some effect on space-time, bending reality to one's will. Imagine the possibilities! Sadly, GUN is doing just that, but in all the wrong ways. Their desire for weapons research is becoming increasingly overt and increasingly polyle. Let me see what. Let's see here. It's polite. I see. Yeah, they forgot to cross the T. I used my cloud to get a direct line for the president to ask for him to intervene. He said he would, but then asked me for something equally obscene. He wants me to discover a means to immortality. I claim to improve life, not pervert it. Everything gives way to entropy. The concept is laughable, as intangible as a shadow. I refused him outright. In retrospect, perhaps I could have been more diplomatic about it. I find myself on edge. Political pressures aside, oh no, I'm told Maria is sick with no clear diagnosis. I wish I could look into it myself, but I'm needed aboard the Ark. Hopefully this will pass and she'll recover soon. She is too precious to be left to suffer. Oh no. Now, I actually want to start off by saying that this is really cool, since this is the time that Gerald has officially begun researching and analyzing the power of the Chaos Emeralds, including their unlimited power, as well as their ability to bend time and space, which we have seen throughout the Sonic series. For one sentence, I have to say that I might be analyzing this too much, but for one sentence, for bending reality to one's will, I could be stretching it a bit, but is it possible that could connect to the Phantom Ruby, which in of itself has the ability to warp time and space, as well as create virtual reality illusions? I'm not really sure that it could be an Easter egg to the Phantom Ruby, but once again, it's just a stretch. So for now, let's just focus on the Chaos Emeralds. Now, it's not said specifically how Gerald was able to get one of the Chaos Emeralds, but I believe it's possible that Gerald may have done research on the warp rings as well as the special zone, as he may have learned where the Chaos Emeralds came from and where they are, and how to obtain them. And although sometimes the Chaos Emeralds can be found on Earth and not just in the special zones, it can absolutely also be possible that Gerald may have done research on South Island, West Side Island, Flicky Island, as well as the other islands across Earth that have a connection to the special zones and the Chaos Emeralds. And actually, this leads me to another question. Is it possible that Gerald may have also visited Little Planet? And if that's true, then Gerald may have realized that the Chaos Emeralds and the Time Stones do share similar powers of bending time and space. And sadly, well, we don't have an entry about Little Planet as well as the Time Stones. But still, it is possible that Gerald may have visited Little Planet at one time, since it does appear over Never Lake 1 month of every year. And unfortunately, we'll never know. I think the reason why there hasn't been any entries regarding Little Planet, the Time Stones, Warp Rings, and Special Zones is because Gerald would know that if GUN learns about them, they would hunt down the time stones in the little planet and the Chaos Emeralds around the world, as well as throughout the islands, and use them for weapons of destruction. That's probably why we see torn pages throughout the book, for Gerald destroyed those pages to protect the little planet as well as the Mobians on the islands. And once more, it's just theory, but it would be interesting. And not only that, but this is also when we learn about the very origins, or like the very roots of Project Shadow. And the president at that time asked Gerald to find a way to find immortality in exchange to stop GUN from constantly asking Gerald for weapons research. And what's interesting is that Gerald did say that's intangible as a shadow, foreshadowing. But unfortunately, this is also when we get to learn about Maria's illness, as well as, and later on, we know that this soon becomes the catalyst, not only to find immortality through Project Shadow, but as well as a cure for Maria. Now, this is the one page that it has the, this has the least amount of, it may not be much, but this confirms it. This confirms Sonic Rivals 2 and Sonic Rivals. The all-powerful Ifrit. The Ifrit held the power to bind a soul, and he destroyed the entire, and as we see here, this section of the journal has been burnt up. Sadly, it's possibly due to the Ifrit, but that is still really cool. That is really cool. It is really interesting and really cool that Sega has now confirmed that the Sonic Rivals series is confirmed to be canon. Though in this entry, though Burnt and Messy is definitely talking about the Ifrit, an evil creature of fire that destroyed its own dimension, now called the Chaotic Inferno. And from what Gerald's entry says about it, plus what Sonic Rivals 2 has shown us, the Ifrit is a powerful creature that can not only bind one's soul to control one's mind, but as we see here, even though it's burnt up, we learn from the game it needs to feed on Chao to become invincible and destructive. And now that we know the origins of the Chao being the Ancients thanks to Sonic Frontiers, is it possible that the Ancients had a connection to the Ifrit? And if so, then does the Ifrit have a connection, not only have a connection to the Ancients, but as well as the Chaos Emeralds, as we have learned from Eggman, as we have learned that Eggman Nega, Eggman's future descendant or alternate version of himself, that he needs all the 7 Chaos Emeralds to open the door to the Ifrit's dimension. I think the reason why the Ifrit needed to feed on Chao is because they themselves have chaos energy within them. I mean, since they were they were originally aliens that had the Chaos Emeralds, but they also found the Master Emerald. And I believe that's the Master Emerald that turned the Ancients into Chao. Yeah, we've learned from Sonic Frontiers that the Ancients died within a few generations after a group of them fled the Starfall Islands after sealing the end in cyberspace, and that group brought the emeralds to the Master Emerald, and they could be the ones that built the shrine before the Echidna tribe discovered it. And I wonder if the Ancients either accidentally discovered the Ifrit, or may have accidentally created it and forced it into a different dimension, yet a part of it escaped and the Ancients helped humanity seal it with the Chaos Emeralds, in turn creating Solaris. I may be rambling a bit here, but if this is true, then it's possible that the Chaos Emerald's ability to bend time and space, combined with the Ifrit's darkness as it was being sealed, may also be the origins of Mephiles as well as Iblis, since the Ifrit and Iblis share similarities, since both of them have power over fire and lava. Though once again, this is not a theory or is not solid confirmation. But what if after the Ifrit was sealed, the Master Emerald eventually turned the Ancients into Chao, yet it understood that the Chow needed a guardian in not only the Chow but also the world from the Ifrit in case it ever returns. And it later on turned one Chow into Chaos himself, so if the Ifrit ever escapes its own dimension, Chaos can use the Chaos Emerald to protect the Earth as well as the Chow from the Ifrit. But once again, this is just a theory and possibly leading towards fanfiction territory, but once again, I'm not really sure. Another theory I do want to talk about is once again relating to the Ancients. I believe that during the time they lived until they became Chow, they would have learned a lot about the world, about the Mobians, and especially about the Gaia manuscripts, as well as about Light Gaia and Dark Gaia. I believe they're the ones who helped the humans and Mobians create the Gaia temples to help heal the world every time the time of awakening happens, and Light Gaia uses the power of the Chaos Emeralds to seal back Dark Gaia and restore the world. I believe this because the symbols of the Gaia temple altars that Sonic and Chip find and place the Chaos Emeralds in almost look similar to many of the ancient ruins in the Starfall Islands and many of the sections that Sonic climbed and ran across the islands. Not only that, but we also have seen, in fact, murals of the Ancients in one section of Spagonia in Team Sonic Racing, which if it was made back at that time, that humans and Mobians would have mistaken the Ancients as genies or gods. And not only that, but there is also in fact a mission in Sonic Unleashed where Sonic rescues Chow in Spagonia, in which there could be a Chow garden in Spagonia. I don't know if Professor Pickle himself knows about the Ancients, but that would be really cool. Another theory that I do want to talk about that I saw circling around online was about Shadow's abilities that we saw in Sonic and Shadow Generations trailers. Many fans pointed out that Shadow's new abilities, including his Doom Wings, Doom Blast, Doom Surf, and Doom Morph, share similar looks to the 4 ancient tribes that perished when the Ancients fled their planet from the end. In Sonic Frontiers: The Final Horizon, Sonic has one of his, talks to Sage, and he learned that there were 4 other ancient tribes that lived with the Ancients that we knew, including a tribe with powerful bodies, a tribe with tails instead of legs, a tribe that walked on 4 legs, and a tribe with wings, and the most intelligent tribe, after fleeing to Earth, now created the Titans to honor their fallen comrades. Not only that, but we also noticed that the Black Arms have actually some similar anatomies as the Ancients. Another possible connection with the Ancients and Black Arms may possibly be the Dark Chow. Actually, I do want to look. I know I actually did find a picture of the Ancients and the Black Arms having some similarities to each other. So let me look that up very quickly. All right, here it is. This is what I was looking for. This is actually this right here was made by a user named Kale, and it's actually what I was going to talk about. As well with if the Dark Arms, since the Dark Arms is related to the Ancients, it could also be connections to the Chow as well. And it says right here, if the Ancients evolved into Chow, and the Chow influenced by Shadow become Dark Chow, and the Dark Chow vaguely resemble the Black Arms' black and red colors because Shadow has Black Doom's blood, are the Dark Chow the equivalent of the evolved Black Arms? That right there is a possibility, and once again, the Ancients and the Black Arms do share similarities to each other, with some of the Black Arms having wings, and some of them having some of the soldiers being a lot bigger and stronger, while some of them are just regular versions of the foot soldiers. And yeah, it is, and I don't remember if I forgot if there are some Black Arms that had tails. I think there were some Black Arms that did have tails, and others probably had 4 had 4 legs instead of 2. And the user also said here, are the black arms relations of the ancients in the same way dark Chow are to Chow? Their horns changing shape like chaos with influence. And that right there is a possibility. And also, another question here is, what has a dark enough influence and knowledge of the ancients to make them that way? And this right here shows the end from Sonic Frontiers. And it's a possibility that the end may have had a hand of changing some of the ancients throughout their tribes, or corrupting some of the ancients in the tribes, which led to the ancients banishing the corrupted ancients, who eventually became the Black Arms. And this could be a possibility of how Black Doom knew about the Chaos Emeralds. And I believe it's also another possibility is that the Chaos Emeralds can be used for both good and evil, and it's a possibility that the Chaos Emerald's negative energy may also have a hand in corrupting some of the ancients into becoming the Black Arms. And yeah, I don't know if the end. It is possible that the end could have a hand in the corruption in some of the ancients, although it in of itself it's more of a force of destruction, as we have seen in Sonic Frontiers, but it's a possibility. And another theory that many people many fans have seen a connection with the Black Arms is that they noticed that in the Shadow the Hedgehog game there are certain giant oval-like eggs which almost look like incubators for the, I believe, the soldiers. But upon further inspection, let's take a look at a walkthrough in Shadow the Hedgehog very quickly. Here we go. So this right here, it almost resembles an ancient right there. If you look at it very closely, it almost looks like the ancient with the eyes and the blue color. I don't know if it's the incubator itself, but this once again could be another connection between the ancients and the Black Arms. And once again, this is all just a theory. These are all just theories, but that would be really cool. That would still be really cool. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if Black Doom is trying to bring the ancients back, or many of them have been captured and preserved, in which Black Doom is trying to bring them back. But once again, we don't really know. But once again, this is all just a theory. Alright, so here we are back with the journal, and yeah, I know I have went off a bit off topic with Gerald Robotnik doing some research with the Ifrit, and rambling off to theorizing that the Ifrit may have had a connection to the ancients since it became Chow, and once again leading over, which led to the connection, possible connection with the ancients being connected to the Black Arms. But yeah, I think that Black Doom was probably captured some of the ancients, or is just using them to gain information from the Chaos Emeralds, or already knew about the Chaos Emeralds. Once again, it is possible that Gerald may have done research about the ancients, but once again, as of now, we don't really know. But for now, let's move on to the next page. Ooh. Okay. Here we go. Now this is where, okay, this is interesting. Entry 402. I have uncovered a most interesting specimen from the warehouse. It was first recovered by my son, Benjamin, which I'm gonna keep calling him. As of now, his archaeologist son is named probably Benjamin. I believe it to be some sort of puppet or robot made by an ancient people. At first, I didn't think any of it, but when I was experimenting on the Gezoid, it began to move. This suggests the possibility that even ancient civilizations could harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds. When I was experimenting on the Chaos Emerald, it began to move. Okay, there we go. When I was researching various papers related to the Chaos Emeralds and this robot, I believe that there was a possibility that this robot was something incredible. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this robot may be the cause of destruction of the fourth great civilization. I'm not sure I believe it just yet, though. Now, this is actually a quote, one of Gerald Robotnik's entries completely taken from Sonic Battle, absolutely confirming that Sonic Battle is canon. And I know there's some fans who are wondering when Sonic Battle took place, and some are saying it takes place after the events of Sonic Heroes, but I believe the most possible time it took place would have to be after Shadow the Hedgehog, which would make sense. And even though it shows entry 407 having, burnt up a bit, from what we've seen from the previous entry, we are able to know, we do have the entry available completely on the Sonic Wiki, and since it has both the, since it is completely, taken from Sonic Battle. So entry 407. I'm no longer able to ignore the possibility that this robot did in fact destroy the fourth great civilization. I have discovered a stone tablet that explains as much. According to the tablet, when the figure falls from the heavens and the stone of the gods is joined, all that exists will become one again. Although it is difficult to believe, this robot has been watching my movements and mimicking all that I do. I was amazed by my scans of this being. Surprisingly, reams and reams of data scrolled and caused my most powerful computer to crash. More intriguing was that the data was all about melee combat and weapons of that age. Eventually, if this being is ever restored to its former state, it will put all that data to use and recreate all the weaponry and combat abilities that it once had. And that's not all. If my guesses are correct, it will also have the ability to absorb modern weaponry as well. What have I done? I have uncovered a horrible weapon. Now that is terrifying right there. What Gerald Robotnik has discovered. It is. When you play through Sonic Battle, I believe through different characters, you do get to read different entries of Gerald Robotnik finding the Gezoid, aka Emerald, and it is retconned that it is his archaeologist son who discovered Emerald, and it is really cool that they brought in word for word of the original entry that we've gotten from Sonic Battle. It is really cool, and I love that. I really do. All right. Entry 428. It has been a trying time, to say the least. Maria was diagnosed with neuroimmune deficiency syndrome. There is no cure. Yet. I pulled some strings and had brought her aboard the Ark for treatment and assessment. The low-gravity environment should help keep her symptoms manageable. Her family has been less than enthusiastic with my decision. Despite everything, she remains the most positive person in the room. Most of the staff here left their families back on Earth, so I worried she'd feel lonely. Instead, she became the adoptive daughter of every researcher on the Ark. Moreover, she's become like a big sister to little Abraham, Little Ark's happy little accident over the past few years. The President keeps prompting me with his quest to unlock the mysteries of life. Perhaps with his funding and clout, I could find a means to cure Maria while chasing that shadow. Oh man. This is where we officially learned that Maria and Gerald discovered that she was diagnosed with neuroimmune deficiency syndrome, and this is when she was brought to the Ark so that way Gerald could find a way to cure her. I think there was I think before this was officially confirmed that Maria was brought into the Ark, many fans have theorized that or believed that she was born on the Ark, but this shows that she was brought in. And not only that, but the low gravity environment stated here was also mentioned in Sonic and Shadow Generations Dark Begins by Shadow when she was showing him the Aurora Borealis. And unfortunately, this sadly does begin a rift between Gerald and his family back on Earth. And despite that, the entry did state that Maria still remains very positive and was loved by the scientists on the Ark, and became a sister to a young Abraham Towers, whom we have now learned was born on the Ark. And as I stated earlier, Maria's illness became the catalyst of Gerald agreeing to the President's request to find immortality while he uses it to find a cure for Maria. Okay, look. This is actually, so the artificial chaos. Alright, entry 515. GUN has dropped all pretense and is demanding weapons research in exchange for continued funding. I promised the President I'd begin work on Project Shadow, but even he can't get them to back down. It appears I have a gun to my head on the matter. Years ago, I discovered records of an ancient god of destruction called Chaos. It was said to command the fury and force of the ocean, or something for that effect. I've begun developing a basic AI-driven apparatus that can generate cohesion in water and produce controlled shapes for basic actions. I've told the top brass that these can turn any body of water into an autonomous weapon. Deep down, I'm hoping it can be used as easily deployed search and rescue units. Imagine a flood turned back on itself to aid those in the rubble. Ooh, okay. That is really cool. Alright, so this is when GUN is still insisting Gerald to build weapons, but that is really cool that we get to see the origins of Gerald creating the artificial chaos. It's actually really interesting that Gerald and later Eggman both discovered the records of Chaos, and while Eggman freed Chaos from the Master Emerald to control and create Eggman Land, setting the events of Sonic Adventure, Gerald was inspired by the myth to create the artificial Chaos AI apparatus to control water. And he may have told GUN that this could be used as weapons, but it's actually really cool that he wanted to use them for search and rescue missions in flooded areas. That is really cool. Alright. Entry 530. Research into Project Shadow is in full swing. The first step has been learning how to siphon Chaos Emerald energy and apply it to living tissue. To that end, I developed the Chaos Drives. Direct application seems too harsh. Any organism that could directly interface with an emerald would be fearsome indeed. Well, he's not. I'll talk more about that after reading this entry. Excuse me. The initial tests were promising, so we're now moving on to the next stage in the trials. I'll be using salamanders for their regenerative abilities and manageable size. We will begin applying Chaos Drives to the test subject and see how its vitals respond. And to keep GUN from breathing down my neck, I'm supplying them with Chaos Drives as batteries for their mechanized division. I loathe powering engines of war, but sacrifices have to be made if I'm to save Maria. I'll figure something out in the long run. I am a genius, after all. Ooh, okay. Now this is where we see Project Shadow officially begin, as well as the origins of the Chaos Drives. And we also see the reason the Chaos Drives were made was because Gerald, not only was Gerald afraid of what would happen if an organism directly uses the Chaos Emeralds, but from what we've seen from Sonic and his friends, we have seen them use the Chaos Emeralds for good, and seen with all the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic becoming Supersonic. This is also where we get to see GUN get the Chaos Drives from Gerald to power their own robot series that we have seen from Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog. And this is also where we get to see the origins of the Biolizard, aka the Ultimate Lifeform prototype, and you even get to see a picture of Maria with the Biolizard in its original form. Actually, yeah, I mean, before it was equipped with the Chaos Drives, and And this could be the salamander. This salamander could probably have been her pet before Gerald experimented on it, and that is very sad. And unfortunately, from what we've known from Sonic Adventure 2, it did not. It ended very badly. Okay, so this officially leads next to the next entry. Entry 568. Project Shadow has reached an impasse. The subject exhibits accelerated cellular growth to the point it cannot support its own biological systems. I developed an external life support system to compensate, but it will need to be upgraded and redesigned as the subject continues to grow. The way it thrashes and roars, it is uncontrollable. It is very tragic. Furthermore, it is generating unexplained energetic reactions. Is this an expression of the Chaos Emerald power? Can a living thing produce such energy? Well, from what we've seen, yeah. Can it be controlled? There are too many questions, and unfortunately, the answers lie in this bio-lizard's life. I will keep it alive and as comfortable as I can until I have the answers I need. I found a region in the Ark that should be able to safely house it while we continue our experiments. I'm not sure what I will tell Maria. I do not want to lie to her, but I think the truth is too cruel. Oh man. Yeah, this is where the salamander truly became the bio-lizard due to the unstable growth, as well as Gerald creating the life system onto it. And yeah, from what we've read here, Gerald felt guilty for putting it through the experiments as well as lying to Maria about what happened to it. And it did say that he kept it alive until he found the answers to Project Shadow. And I think he probably kept it alive to not only find the answers, but I think he also kept it alive until he is not only able to find a cure for Maria, but I believe as well as to find a way to reverse the experiments on the bio-lizard and turn it back to its original form. But sadly, we all know that never came to pass. Alright, so entry 589. Maria is growing into a lovely young woman. It breaks my heart that someone as bright and energetic as her is diminished by disease. There are no visible effects, and I've caught my fellow researchers muttering to each other, doubting her illness? I believe that's what it says. Let's see here. Yeah, it was doubting her illness. And it is infuriating. I find all my reason and restraint vanishes when she's slighted. And yet she remains an unending font of positivity. Even on her worst days, when the fear and the pain take hold, she tells me she endures for the day when she can return home. She has total faith in me and that Project Shadow will cure her. Her family back on Earth has no such faith. It's been so long. Some of the researchers actually think she was born here. Her family either wants her better or wants her home. I can do neither. Somehow, their scorn is harsher than the government or the military's increasing pressure for more weapons research. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, Gerald is very torn here with not only the experiments in the government as well as GUN, but even with his family back on Earth. Man, it really does hurt that he was struggling the idea of sending Maria back home, but also wanting her cured. But unfortunately, this leads to the rift growing between his family and himself, and it hurts him more than anything else. And from what we see here, the desperation to save Maria and keep his family together soon leads to making a deal with the devil. And this is where we lead to entry 616. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and I am a desperate man. I also want to mention in the previous entry that we get to see the picture of both Gerald and Maria together that we have seen throughout in Sonic Adventure 2, as well as in Shadow the Hedgehog, and even Shadow himself once held the picture as well. And this is where we see Gerald meeting Black Doom. The Black Comet returned to Earth in its 50-year orbit. I had no idea it actually harbored aliens. Aboard it was, and I know this one is long, but aboard it was the Black Arms. I believe, I don't know what it will actually say, but I believe it says aboard it was called the it was an alien race called the Black Arms, led by Black Doom. Somehow he knew about the Chaos Emeralds and seemed impressed with my work. He offered me a Faustian deal. I accepted. Using his DNA, I was able to overcome every hurdle Project Shadow had put before me. The small, sturdy biped I developed can perfectly interact with Chaos Emerald energy. Black Doom wanted me to craft a herald for his future invasion. GUN wants Project Shadow to generate undying soldiers for them. I will play them for fools. Yeah, this is really cool. This is really cool that we see the official meeting with Gerald and Black Doom, and I think it's almost similar to when Stanford Pines was desperate to find the origins of Gravity Falls weirdness to the point he summoned Bill Cipher, and he himself made a Faustian deal with the devil, with him agreeing to create a portal to our world. When Gerald stated in the entry that he created a Mobian to perfectly interact with the Chaos Emerald energy, I don't know if he meant that he created Shadow's body with Black Doom's DNA along with Hedgehog Mobian DNA, but I think that's the most possibility. It is actually really cool that he's playing both sides with GUN and Black Doom, with both wanting weapons of war while he sees Shadow not only as his son, but as well as a means to cure Maria. And this is actually also the time, I believe, when young Abraham Towers discovered Gerald and Black Doom creating Shadow. From what we've seen from the Shadow the Hedgehog game, when in one flashback, when Abraham Towers confronted Shadow when he still had his grudge at him, and he blamed Shadow for all the tragedy in the Ark. And not only did he see Gerald and Black Doom creating Shadow, Abe not only became terrified of Shadow, but also began his hatred towards him, as once again we have seen from Shadow the Hedgehog. And I think when Abe read this part, when he himself was given the journal and read it, he felt deep regret for having a hatred towards Shadow as he learned more about Gerald's goal to help Maria. Alright, so entry 620. When I launched Project Shadow, initially, I named it with scorn and mockery. I was trying to grab hold of an intangible goal. Later, it sounded appropriately villainous as I was toying with the fundamentals of life itself. But then, Maria looked upon the unfinished specimen and put things into a whole new perspective. A shadow tells you which way to go to find the light. In an instant, she cut through all my pessimism and doubt and filled me with hope. Shadow, as she's come to call him, will not be some dark creature, but a champion of life and hope. I would not have seen that if not for Maria. She is truly a remarkable person who can do great and wondrous things for the world. I must save her, no matter the costs. I don't know if that last line is a reference to Transformers, which Optimus Prime says, but it still right here is really sweet. I understand that Gerald originally named Project Shadow as a mockery for trying to find immortality because it was like something he can't grasp onto, to over time seen as something villainous because it was, well, as he stated here, toying with the fundamentals of life. But thanks to Maria, he later sees Shadow as hope for humanity, and Yeah, from what we've known. Oh my gosh. Yeah, unfortunately, it really hurts so much because we know what happened later. I don't know if anyone made a fanfiction AU which Gerald was successful in saving Maria and keeping his family together as bringing Shadow to Earth, but I hope they make that. Well, I don't know if it was already made or if someone didn't make it. Please make it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there's more entries here of from Sonic Adventure from Sonic Battle. I now understand why this being was named Gizoid. In the ancient tongue, it means everything. According to the stone tablet, if the Gizoid establishes a link with someone, the Gizoid would swear loyalty to that person. Perhaps it still lacks Chaos Emerald energy, but has been saying the word link to me in broken tones. It went on to explain, "Show me your true strength, and I shall obey. I am all things, and all shall belong to me." So, as it suggested, I brought before my collection of model guns and fired them all. Then, suddenly, it said, "I shall follow your every command, and never leave your side." And since then, it refuses to listen to anyone but me. While it still is a fearsome weapon of destruction, and while it remains under my control, at least it won't be used for evil. However, if someone with evil intentions ever forms a link with the Gizoid, I don't even want to think about what will happen. I must research how can one reestablish a link with a Gizoid. But yeah, that is really once again, it is really cool that we get to see more of the entries from Sonic Battle being shown here. That Gerald Robotnik. Once again, it is really cool to see Sonic Battle as canon to. Well, it is truly canon to the Sonic franchise. The upper echelon is going crazy. Perhaps they aim to freeze Project Shadow. Soon the ultimate lifeform, Shadow, will be completed. The application to my granddaughter is also imminent. I cannot just let them stop my study at this point, because I'm the only one who can save my granddaughter's life. And that is really true. And it is still really cool that once again, this is another entry from Sonic Battle, and I think, once again, I do believe that Eggman may have, that even though that Commander Abraham Towers was given this journal, once again, I do believe that Eggman still made a copy of his grandfather's journal from, and that is a possibility. It is really cool to see Gerald Robotnik showing a picture of Gerald Robotnik showing the picture of Gerald Robotnik interacting with the Gizoid, of course, later known to be Emerald. And I forgot to talk about this earlier, but is it just me, or does the Gizoid almost have a resemblance to the Ancients? I mean, with the three fingers. I mean, with the head and the eyes almost having a similarity to the Ancients, and it could be a stretch, but even the three circles in the center of the Gizoid's chest, or Emerald's chest, it could be a reference to the Coco. Ooh, what if it is a reference to the Coco? Since the Coco themselves eventually contained the spirits of the Ancients, and originally were seen as charms. But that is a possibility. Well, once again, it's possible that it was probably built by the fourth great civilization, who were inspired by the Ancients. It's a possibility, but I'm not really sure. Once again, it is all just a theory. Alright, so here's another entry from Sonic Battle. Entry 642. The higher-ups are threatening to shut down this research facility. I had no choice but to hand them the Gizoid to buy more time for my research. I tried to be careful and commanded it to never absorb any dangerous technologies. However, I have heard that other researchers have been making the Gizord absorb weapons. Apparently, the way to cause the Gizord to form a new link is to show it power that surpasses that of its former master. While this poses immense danger, I cannot risk losing Maria. Now this is where we get the okay, this is interesting. The top brass still aren't satisfied. The Gizord isn't big enough or flashy enough for them. Fine. I developed a weapon I'm calling the Eclipse Cannon. It taps directly into the Ark's central reactor to produce an unethical degree of firepower. They'll love it. However, to use it on any target on Earth would destroy the world. They'll never be able to find it. Checkmate. It will, however, be the perfect tool to deal with the Black Arms when they return. Eclipse means shadow. This is Shadow's cannon. My gift to him in a battle he never asked for. I am so sorry. That is really cool. This is where we get to see the origins of the Eclipse cannon. And I think, and what's interesting from what we see from the picture here, I believe they actually took it from Sonic Adventure 2 with the level. Well, when we see from the level map, that is actually really cool. I really like that. And of course, he did create it to please GUN, but he's like, haha, you won't be able to use it because it's too powerful for you. But this is also when he recorded the entry for Shadow, stating that he created the Eclipse Cannon to destroy the Black Comet when it returns to Earth. And yeah, this is the one that we've seen in Shadow the Hedgehog's true ending, aka The Last Way, when the Chaotix recovered parts of Gerald's diary and broadcasted it to the world and to the Black Comet, helping Shadow and everyone learn the truth. And yeah, and that is when we hear Gerald referencing Shadow to as his son. And he says, if you're watching this, you need to know the truth. The government plans to shut down the research facility, and I've made a terrible mistake, Shadow. I never should have made contact with the Black Comet. But yeah, and from what we've learned from his fascinating deal with Black Doom, Black Doom not only wants him to create Shadow to be a soldier for him to destroy Earth, but in return, Gerald needs to give him the Chaos Emeralds, and Gerald's like, what have I done? What have I done? If they get the Chaos Emeralds and teleport the Black Comet to Earth, they would cause the invasion and destroy it. Nope, I'm not going to do that. And that is when he created the Eclipse Cannon to destroy the Black Comet. And of course we later see that at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog, when Shadow re-teleports the Black Comet back into outer space and destroyed it. Once again, this is really cool. I mean, I love this. Oh, the air shoes. Oh, that's awesome. Alright, entry 651. Maria doesn't know the full scope of what Shadow has been designed for, but she understands that he will be under tremendous strain. She's helped me... Oh, that's cool. She's helped me conceptualize a number of accessories that will help focus his power and aid in his mobility. Oh, that is really cool. I love that. The picture of Gerald and Maria working on ideas to help Shadow. That is really cool. I'm also researching chaos control to see if I can gain an understanding of it before Shadow awakens. The power to stop time and space is inevitable? No, that's not right. It's... Oh, incredible. I see. That's what... Incredible. Okay, sorry. And I don't want him to have to try to learn its intricacies on its own. Oh, and okay, so yeah, that is really cool. These are the pages where we get to see both Gerald and Maria create the inhibitor rings, or as we know them as limiter rings, to help Shadow stabilize and create his chaos control. Once again, this is really cool. I really love how Maria drew how she drew the air shoes. That is really cool. And showing, and it also shows her with the inhibitor rings to help Shadow control his, well, power. Deep down, I know this progress is superficial. What was that word again? Oh, tangential. I can't speak. Tangential at best. The larger issue remains. GUN, the present, the black arms. I believe that's what these redacted words are. My family. I've learned. I think that's what it is. Oh, I've gleaned there's a rift growing between my sons. My love for them shouldn't be a divisive issue. I'm running out of time. Ooh, oh no. So, but still, well, alright, so yeah, once again, these pages both have well, both hope and tragedy in them. And I actually want to point out is that what it's really interesting is that a while back, Joao Felipe Santiago's Project Shadow fan film, which I've actually done a reaction to, actually confirmed that Shadow's air shoes was given to him by both Gerald and Maria, and it is confirmed that both Gerald and Maria created them. And unfortunately, I don't know what this orb is on page 16. It could be, well, I think it does connect to Chaos Control, but upon looking closer at it, it almost has the same symbols similar to the Ancients' ruins. I could be wrong, but if any of you know about what the orb is, please let me know in the comment section down below. Once again, I really do love the sketch of Shadow's air shoes, and she must have been inspired by the Extreme Gear hover shoes. And yeah, I did state earlier in the video that it is possible that either Gerald or one of his family members may have created the Extreme Gear, and Maria must have introduced it to it when she was young, before she was diagnosed with before she got her disease. And I think it's possible that she likes the hover skates, and she gave her father her own design for them for Shadow. Yeah. And unfortunately, as we read on page 17, Gerald was not only pressured by GUN, the President, and the Black Arms, but as well as his family. I think he had been communicating with them back on Earth, and he learned that his signs are fighting and growing apart from each other. And once again, I would like to see a universe where Gerald was able to save Maria, introduce Shadow to his family, and keep his family together. But it is unfortunate with what happened to the Robotnik family after the events of the Ark. Ooh, the official birth of Shadow the Hedgehog. Entry 670. It has been a whirlwind of events as of late. Project Shadow is complete, and Shadow has awakened. I pre-programmed a great deal of data into his mind, but his ability to parse it out and apply it to his situation is remarkable. All of his vitals are strong, and there seems to be no signs of instability or mutation. He stands in stark contrast to the monitor we have sealed below decks. Ooh. Yeah, this is really cool. It's really cool that Gerald was able to pre-program a lot of data into Shadow, and I think it was not just about being able to learn and use Chaos Control, but as well as a lot of knowledge of Earth, including science, math, history, geography, literature, language, and many other topics. And we also get to see Shadow without gloves for the first time as well. Right, so, but all successes of the physical and mutual process come second to his relationship to Maria. I'd hope they get along, but it's far better than that. She is his guide to the world, and he is her steward companion. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Oh, stalwart, sorry. Never have I seen such instant mutual friendship and trust between two beings. I am truly moved. They remind me why I've been working so hard. They bring me hope. That is awesome. It is really cool that we also get to see Shadow befriend Maria, and from what we've seen here, Gerald is very proud that they've become amazing friends. I would like to point out that this section of the book has actually used artwork from Sonic Channel as well, with including Maria and Shadow looking at the stars, as well as them attending school on the Ark. I also noticed that the globe that they used here is the same one from Sonic Unleashed, and I don't know if I think it's possible that they confirmed that the Earth from Sonic Unleashed could be the most canon, but I don't know if but from what we've seen from different from what we've seen from the previous Sonic games, I think they kept changing the look and design of Earth, but once again, I think it's possible that they confirmed that the globe that the Earth's continent that they used in Sonic Unleashed could be the most canon, but I'm not sure. But I think this is also the time when Abe also became jealous with Shadow and Maria's friendship, and we did see that in the quick flashback of Dark Beginnings when Shadow was looking at one of Black Doom's, well, how should I put it? one of the small black arms, one of the ones with the eyes. Well, actually, yeah, with one of the Black Doom eggs. Well, larva. There we go. One of the Black Doom larvae. Alright, back on Earth. And yeah, it doesn't. Okay. Oh, I see. Maria's parents have been blessed with another girl. They've already run tests, and she has none of the genetic markers linked to Maria's condition. Oh. Well, this was welcome news. The unspoken commentary was received loud and clear. I must save Maria. I must get my family back. Shadow, you are the key to it all. Oh no. Yeah, so this is where we learned that Maria's parents have been blessed with another girl, and while Gerald is happy about that, as well as knowing that Maria now has a baby sister, he understood that time is running out and he must save Maria. And unfortunately, things sadly go from bad to worse. Oh no. This is the next entry from Sonic Battle. My worst fears have come true. The Geezoid has absorbed enough weaponry and technology that has started to go out of control. The resulting rampage resulted in the destruction of most of the Ark. Oh, this is where we've... Oh no. This is actually where we've seen the events of another flashback, in the first flashback of Shadow the Hedgehog's Dark Beginnings, when Shadow fought Emerald in the flashback to protect Gerald. I have deciphered the rest of the stone tablet. It says, when the Geezoid had learned all that it could, it became a god of wrath, and all was destroyed. The researchers somehow managed to subdue the Geezoid and seal it away. Luckily, it only had one Chaos Emerald installed. If it were to have all 7 emeralds installed, it might destroy the whole planet. And if I remember correctly, Emerald did get all the 7 Chaos Emeralds at the end of Sonic Battle. The Geezoid is too much of a liability. I tried destroying its core, but nothing I did worked. I understand too little of the technology that built him. My best hope is to try and reprogram the AI into a free-willed, emotions-based AI. Oh. I see. That is when Gerald Robotnik reprogrammed its AI to being to being used for good instead of evil. And yeah, from what we've seen from this entry point, it does lead to the next one. Oh no, this is not good. Some of it is a bit smudged. But yeah, this right here is where we get to see, where we saw another flashback of Shadow the Hedgehog, where the stage of Lost Impact happened. Well, mainly the hero path. Excuse me. Entry blank. I've lost track of the days. Not very scientific of me. I'm strained. Something has to give? I believe that's what it says. Yeah, something has to give. The Geezoid's rampage caused the artificial chaos to behave erratically. And another smudged area. I've attempted to regain network control by inverting the polarity of the... And all this is all smudged up, and I can't see that. I believe it, I don't know, I could be wrong, but it says, by inverting the polarity of the artificial chaos to calm them down, instead, they became violent. Shadow raced across the arc, pacifying them quite expertly, but the damage is done. Yeah, oh, I see what these pictures here. It shows the cameras of not only the artificial chaos attacking the scientists and everyone on the ark, but as well as Shadow, like racing around the ark as fast as he can to try to stop them. But as he said, the damage has been done. An SOS was sent to GON automatically. I dread the litigious. I think that's how you pronounce that. Yeah, litigious reprimanding I have to endure next. Oh no. So this is where GON was brought in, where GON was like, yeah, we have to shut down everything. Oh boy. Okay, so yeah, I think this. Okay, so this is when I believe that. So, well, before we begin to the next page, I just want to say, yeah, this is when, once again, that was when G1 was sent SOS, and it was sent automatically. I think it was probably sent automatically by one of the scientists, but I don't know, and yeah, I don't really know, but yeah, I think it was just an automatic. It was probably installed there to automatically send an SOS in case something happened. It's a possibility, yeah. All right, so here's also I think one in the last. I think if I remember correctly, yeah, this is the last entry of Sonic Battle. A heritage of the past I dug out, Geezoid. Yeah, unfortunately, this section is very messy. It's possible that this is also when Gerald was captured by GON and sent to Prison Island. A heritage of the past I dug out, Geezoid, and the ultimate life form I created by my own hand, Shadow. I equipped both weapons with a heart. If all powers are not what is to be attained for oneself, but what is to be born from hearts that yearn for someone, I believe all conflicts should cease to exist. Please, if there is anyone listening to my prayers, bring hope to humanity. And that right there is the last entry. And if I remembered from another entry, actually, Gerald himself stated that the bring hope to humanity was said by his daughter Maria, and he typed that in to the Geezoid so that if anyone says bring hope to humanity, the Geezoid's AI would change over to the emotion-driven AI, which I believe we later seen in Sonic Battle. And this right here is also a next entry. Some of it is burnt up, but this is In fact, the entry that we've heard, well, that we've seen in Sonic Adventure 2, in the last story. I don't know what happened or what went wrong. Was it a mistake to create the ultimate life form? I thought it would be something that would benefit mankind. But then, the military guards landed on the colony that day. They were sent to destroy the research project that I've been working on. My colleagues at the research facility, my daughter, my daughter, Maria. I hope you all are safe. The colony was completely shut down, probably to keep the prototype from falling into the wrong hands. The Ark was shut down under the premise that there had been an accident. We are now at the last couple entries of Gerald's diary, and once again, this is during his time on Prison Island, and when he was writing his research all over the prison walls. And these pages do have different scientific and mathematical formulas around them, and even a binary code, which I don't know if anyone has translated it. I actually did try to type the code into a converter, but I was a bit confused about it. And if any of you were able to convert the binary code of what it was saying, let me know in the comment section down below. And this is when G1 completely captured everyone and shut down the Ark, but sadly this was also when Maria said her final goodbyes to Shadow, asking him to bring hope to humanity before she was shot and killed. I believe this is also when Abe was also not only captured by GUN and brought in to be a part of the military, but he also learned that his family and Maria were killed, and he believed that Shadow did it. And unfortunately, instead of realizing that GUN was truly to blame, Abe's jealousy and hatred towards Shadow blinded him to a point that he has a grudge toward him. Of course, blaming Shadow for everything, for what happened on the Ark, and he probably blamed Shadow for the chaos that happened, including what happened to the artificial chaos and everything else. But of course, later in the present, he does learn the truth and not only lets go of his grudge, but from what I remembered in the expert mode of Shadow the Hedgehog, from what we've heard from, he actually communicated with Shadow in intercom, and he not only apologized to Shadow, but he wanted to introduce him to his granddaughter, which actually is really cool. But now we come to the final entry. This is when Gerald completely lost it. I found Maria's name among those who died when the Ark was shut down. She meant everything to me, and I couldn't bear the thought of... I couldn't bear the fact that she died because of my research. I lost everything. I had nothing more to live for. I went insane. All I could think about was to avenge her. Somehow, some way. I got scared as I was no longer able to control my thoughts. All I could think about was that I wanted all to end. Based on my original projections, I was able to complete my project Shadow. I designed its mind to be perfect, pure. I will leave everything to him. If you wish, release and awaken it to the world. If you wish to fulfill the world with destruction. And that right there is the last entry of Gerald Robotnik's journal. And a picture of them. A picture of them all together. Yeah, this is not only when Gerald not only discovered that Maria was killed, but once again, this is also when he went insane. And this is when he changed Shadow's memories into thinking that Maria wanted to avenge her by plummeting the Ark towards the Earth and telling anyone if they wanted to awaken Shadow and fill the world with destruction. And I think that was also when Eggman found Gerald's journal. I don't know what to say, but man, Shadow, Maria, and Shadow absolutely deserve so much better. After everything that Gerald tried to do to cure Maria and keep his family together, Yeah, he blames himself for Maria's death. It really does hurt that the last picture we see here is Maria and Gerald in shadow being so happy, not knowing of the upcoming tragedy. Yeah, and just, yeah. They deserve so much better. Once again, I really want to see a AU where Gerald was successful and he, Maria, and Shadow were able to go back to Earth and reunite with their family. Oh man. And what's interesting is that we do have a picture of the back of Gerald's journal, and let me get it here very quickly. Here we are, and it shows property of the Eggman Empire. Of course, he slapped it on over the Guardians of Nations, and the inventory ID code in international use only. And yeah, there's a barcode here in which actually someone did translate it and did translate to it, and it says they didn't know. And I don't know who wrote that. I don't know if it was from. I don't know if someone created that after the event, after the Ark incident, or over time, but I'm not really sure. Alright, so I believe it's time to talk about my closing thoughts, as well as what I believe happened to the Robotnik family after the events of the Ark incident. I think that after GUN and the United Federation shut down the Ark and covered it up as an accident, I think this is also when Gerald's sons not only blame Gerald for Maria's death, but this could be when they not only distance themselves from each other, not only they completely cut ties, but they also not only distance themselves not only from Gerald's name, but from their own name as well. And it's possible that they turned their last name Robotnik into Kintobwar. I think this would actually be very interesting, once again adding Archie lore into the main Sonic lore, this time with Eggman's family changing their name due to believing their name becoming a curse because of Gerald's actions. And yeah, I think this makes Eggman's childhood very tragic. And like his father and uncle and grandfather, Eggman is very talented in robotics, and from what we've seen, he's also interested in archaeology, and I believe that he was also interested in entomology and zoology, the study of bugs and animals, which he incorporated the designs into his machines, as we have seen from the early Sonic games, which actually is possible. I also read one Reddit post that the reason why Eggman loves building amusement parks and wants to build Eggman Land was because this was the only time his family stopped fighting and was going to theme parks and had a really fun time together. And to be honest, that could be a possibility. And it is possible that Eggman did ask his father and uncle about Gerald and Maria, and I think they may have talked more positively to him about Maria than about Gerald. And I don't know about this, but it's a possibility that they could have disapproved of him looking up to Gerald, and unfortunately this also could have created a rift between Eggman and his family, and it would probably lead to Eggman distancing himself from his family, surrounding himself with his machines, returning his name back to Robotnik, and eventually becoming the supervillain that we know him today. Another scenario that could be possible is that after Gerald's death, the brothers completely cut ties, with Maria's father changing his last name to Kintobwar, while Eggman's father kept the name Robotnik. And once again, as I stated earlier, they may have cut ties, but also probably came back together to probably go to amusement parks or hang out together during Christmas time. But once again, these are all just possibilities or in theories for what could have happened with Gerald's sons and Eggman's family after the Ark incident and Gerald's death. But I do wonder if Eggman's family, well, as seen not only saw Gerald's final words before he died when the Ark began its collision course towards Earth at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, since it was broadcasted throughout the world, but as well as Gerald's video telling Shadow to use the Eclipse cannon to destroy the Black Comet at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog. It is possible. I do believe it is possible, and it is a possibility that later on the brothers may have regretted blaming their grandfather for Maria's death, and I think even Maria's sister had actually watched it as well. Once again, I'm just theorizing about what happened after the events of the Ark and how it affected the Robotniks. And before the end of the episode, I actually want to go back to the beginning of the book about the letter itself. I actually do want to talk about, well, the person who gave Commander Towers, who gave the letter and the journal. And once again, it's possible that T's real name could be Topaz, but once again, we're not really sure. But the way that Topaz wrote the last sentence, stating that they wanted to know more about Maria and Gerald, sounded as if it's possible that they could be related to Maria and Gerald. It's a long shot, but I believe that Topaz could be Maria's sister and Eggman's cousin. I don't know if Ivo knew about her, if his father and uncle distanced their families before he was born, or if they did, or if they have hung out before his father and uncle eventually cut ties and before he became evil. And it was possible that they both looked up to Gerald Robotnik as well as wanting to know more about Maria. Once again, these are all just theories, but I think that's actually really cool. Knowing more, not only knowing more about sorry, I can't speak. But it is really cool knowing about more lore about Sonic's world, the Robotnik family, and especially about Gerald Robotnik, as well as learning more details and events which eventually led to Project Shadow. Once again, this journal is really cool. It is definitely Sega's version of Gravity Falls Journal 3, and I am really interested if Shadow's story in Sonic and Shadow Generations has answered many or some of the questions and theories that I have stated throughout the video. If not, then that's okay. And if you've been watching my video and if you have played Shadow's campaign in Sonic and Shadow Generations and stated that, well, and yeah, it is possible that some of these theories have been answered, but once again, I haven't played the Shadow's campaign yet. But yeah, if it hasn't answered any of those questions, that's okay. It's still really cool to theorize about many of my some of my favorite series and franchises, and I'm really interested to see what other theories will be cooking up for the future for the Sonic series. But now, that is all the time I have today for this theory video. I mean, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts about the entries throughout Gerald Robotnik's journal? And what names do you think Gerald's sons have? I mean, do you think one of them could be Julian? It's possible. And what other theories do you have regarding Gerald's journal? Well, let me know in the comment section down below. So that's going to be all the time I have today for this video, but don't go out, I still have plenty of more theories to look forward to more soon. So stay tuned for more. So thank you everybody so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to check out my other theory videos where I theorize about different series and franchises, and be sure to check out my other content where I do Let's Plays, reviews, discussions, top 10s, and voice impressions. And if this is the type of content you enjoy watching, keep updated for all these videos, please hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell on. So once again, thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Speedstreak out.